At tonight's voting session, the atmosphere was charged with energy as township voters, loud and passionate in their support, gathered behind a candidate they believe can bring significant change. Many attendees expressed excitement about the event, which they viewed as the start of a much-needed shift in the local political landscape. The gathering marked a key moment in the township's history, as citizens voiced their collective desire for new leadership, signaling a move away from the status quo. Voters, some of whom had been waiting for this moment for years, showed up in large numbers, eager to make their voices heard. Their enthusiasm was palpable as they rallied behind a candidate they feel truly represents their needs and desires for the future of the township. Supporters spoke about the candidate's ability to bring fresh ideas, foster unity, and address long-standing issues that have plagued the area for too long. The candidate's platform focuses on transparency, community engagement, and sustainable development, which resonated deeply with the electorate. Many in the crowd shared stories of how they had felt neglected by previous administrations, hoping this candidate would bring the change they had longed for. Their hopes were high, as they believed that this election represented an opportunity to reshape the future of the township and improve the quality of life for all residents. This voting session, which many described as one of the most exciting in recent memory, is seen by many as just the beginning of a broader movement for change. The support behind the candidate was more than just a show of numbers. It was a statement that the community was ready for progress. From young voters to older generations, there was a palpable sense of unity and a shared vision for a brighter future. As the votes were cast and the session drew to a close, it was clear that this night would go down in history as a defining moment for the township. The energy in the air suggested that, regardless of the outcome, this election would spark a wave of reform that would set the tone for years to come. Whether or not the candidate ultimately wins, the event marked a critical step toward creating meaningful change and bringing the community together for a common cause.
An overwhelming victory tonight for trustees who hope this election marks the beginning of the end of the chaos and the stalemate in Thornton Township.
Voters in Thornton Township braved the chilly winter air and bundled up for a rare January election, a unique event that held significant importance for the community. The election was called to fill the vacant seat of a trustee who had resigned several months earlier, leaving a gap in local representation. Despite the cold temperatures and the post-holiday season timing, the turnout was strong as residents recognized the importance of this election for the future of their township. The trustees' resignation had left many questioning the direction of the township's leadership and the potential for change. It was clear that filling this vacant seat was crucial, not just for maintaining the functioning of local government, but for ensuring that the voices of the community were adequately represented. This election was seen as an opportunity to bring fresh perspectives into the township's decision-making process, and voters were eager to cast their ballots for a candidate who they believed would best serve their needs. As the day of the election arrived, voters braved the winter chill, many layering up to stay warm as they lined up at polling stations. The rare timing of the election, held in the heart of winter, added a layer of significance, as it was a reminder of how much the community cared about who would fill the trustee position. It was evident that the residents of Thornton Township were determined to make their voices heard, even if it meant stepping out into the cold. Candidates in the race campaigned vigorously, sharing their visions for the future of the township and promising to address pressing issues. Whether it was improving local services, enhancing community engagement, or tackling long-standing concerns, each candidate worked hard to earn the trust of voters. Knowing how important this election was for the future of the township, this election also represented a rare moment in the political cycle for Thornton Township. Special elections like this one don't happen frequently, which only heightened the sense of anticipation among residents. It was a moment for the community to come together and ensure that they had a leader who would represent their interests and work towards the betterment of the township. As voters made their way to the polls, there was a feeling of urgency and importance in the air. This election, held at an unusual time of year, underscored the dedication of Thornton Township's residents and their desire for effective leadership. The results of the election, which would soon determine who would fill the vacant trustee seat, were expected to set the tone for future governance in the township, with many looking forward to the changes and improvements the newly elected trustee would bring.
I'm 80 years old and I'm cruising, but I'm doing my civic duty.
This is important.
what in Thornton Township leadership.
Inside the South Suburban College Gymnasium, the atmosphere was electric as hundreds of voters gathered, ready to make their voices heard in the highly anticipated election. As the crowd settled in, anticipation filled the air. The voters had come to choose from 3 nominated candidates, each hoping to secure their support. However, it quickly became clear that one candidate had gained a significant advantage in the hearts and minds of those in attendance. The gymnasium, usually a space for athletic events, was transformed into a hub of civic engagement. Voters, some eager and others deep in discussion, prepared to raise their paddles in support of the candidate they felt best suited to represent their interests. The setup was straightforward, but the energy in the room was anything but ordinary. There was a sense of unity among the crowd, as they all knew the importance of the decision they were about to make. While all 3 candidates had campaigned hard and shared their visions for the future, it was clear that one had captured the attention and trust of the majority. Supporters of this candidate stood out with their visible enthusiasm, nodding in agreement during speeches and exchanging smiles of confidence. For them, the choice was already made. This candidate represented the change in leadership they had long been hoping for, and they were determined to ensure that their choice would lead the way forward. As the time for voting drew near, the crowd's energy swelled, with many eager to cast their ballots and support the candidate who had earned their trust. The simple act of raising a paddle to cast a vote became a powerful statement, a symbol of the community's desire for progress and effective representation. The decision was not just about choosing a candidate, it was about shaping the future of their community. And for the voters in that gymnasium, the path ahead seemed clear. The overwhelming support for one candidate was a testament to the belief that this individual would bring the right leadership to the table. As the votes were tallied, it was evident that the community had spoken, and their choice was one that would undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on the direction of the township.
This vote is for Stephanie Wiedemann.
Stephanie, we have been dedicated and committed in our service for nearly 2 decades, working diligently under the guidance and direction of the previous administration. Throughout these years, we have continually upheld our responsibilities, contributing our efforts and expertise to the success of the organization, all while adapting to the evolving needs and challenges set forth by the leadership at the time. This long-standing tenure has allowed us to build a strong foundation of experience and loyalty, and we stand ready to continue our service with the same level of dedication and professionalism moving forward.
And my thought kind of was, if I've done my job right for the last 20 years, people will come. And I was very humbled and very happy to see the support in the room.
We demand that she be sworn in immediately. Her appointment would significantly alter the balance of power on the Board of Trustees, granting the majority to those who do not align with Supervisor Tiffany 100's vision and leadership. This shift would reshape the dynamics of the board, potentially influencing future decisions and policies in ways that could diverge from the current direction under Supervisor Tiffany's influence.
I hope we can get some things done instead of all this corruption and stuff.
For months, other trustees have deliberately skipped township meetings, claiming that their attendance might form a quorum and provide the head the opportunity to appoint an ally to the vacant seat. Instead of participating in the decision-making process, they have opted to abstain, likely with the intention of disrupting the proceedings and preventing the seat from being filled in a manner that could favor their opposition.
We struggled. It wasn't easy, kind of doing what we felt was necessary. But we're here tonight, people spoke, and that's ultimately what we want.
The ongoing stalemate ultimately resulted in a lapse in the township's insurance, causing both the closure of municipal buildings and the suspension of bus services. This disruption highlighted the urgency of resolving the issue. Both Trustee Chris Gonzalez and others involved have emphasized that voting on the township's insurance coverage will be a top priority moving forward, with a strong commitment to ensuring that such an oversight does not happen again.
It's going to create accountability. It's going to create some more responsibility, not only for your supervisor, but for all of them.
We, the current members, will continue to serve for just a few short months until the newly elected trustees take their seats following the April election. Jenna Barnes reported that she was denied a spot on the ballot after a Democratic caucus vote last month. However, the newest trustee remains optimistic, believing there is an end in sight to the ongoing chaos. and that the upcoming changes will bring stability and a fresh perspective to the board.